and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start with our consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the consent agenda as presented, including approval of minutes of the regular Board of Education meeting on February 13th, 2023, approval of the proposed accounts for payment, approval of budgetary receipts and expenditures for February 2023, approval of resignations of Don Schwartz, 5th grade at Paddock Lane, Carrie Mines, 5th grade at Stoddard, Cheryl Weiss, middle school reading, Kristen Douglas, middle school art, Betty Bostandig, title at Lincoln, and Julie Baker, high school special education. Approval of contracts for 23-24, Emily Wendland, special education at Paddock Lane.
Okay, thank you, Doris. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any discussion on the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Next is outstanding recognition, Employee of the Month, Dr. Nielsen. Or Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Alexander.
Okay. We have kind of a special and sad Employee of the Month this month. We have someone who is actually going to be leaving us, but we would like to recognize this person for the hard work that they've put in for the last 2 to 3 years that they've been here. So Roy, if you'd come up, please. We have plenty of stories about Roy. So we'll hit some of the highlights though. Roy joined our team in 2021 and has modeled a jump in, feet first approach as he works from many times before sunup to most days after sundown. I don't know when he sleeps, to be honest with you. He's demonstrated that his dependability will never be at question. Roy quickly grasped the systems in Beatrice Public Schools and worked to build a team culture in the maintenance department. Roy is a leader by example. He didn't hesitate to jump in when a need arose, and he did anything in his power to see that a new job was completed when needed. If the job needed to be completed, he would not hesitate to figure out how to address what was needed. He has been seen in schools filling in for custodians who are sick or out on vacation. He ensures that snow is removed promptly, and he works to manage all the daily operations of the district. In preparation for tonight, I sent an email out to administrators and asked them to chime in and give us make some statements about things that they've seen in Roy's tenure. Roy comes when called, no matter when that call comes in. Whether it's 6 o'clock on a Friday while on his way home, he comes to check a fire alarm system that won't stop buzzing. At 11:30 for nearly a month to set up, clean up, and take down the multi-purpose room so it is ready for lunch and then again ready for PE. Coming in on weekends to clean classrooms because he has lost the night custodian. You always find Roy in the building just taking care of business. Never a complaint and always with a smile. That's Roy. We will miss him and we wish him the very best as he moves to the University of Nebraska from Paddock Lane. Roy is definitely a jack of all trades. When there was an issue with mice in the preschool, Roy went above and beyond to take care of the problem. This is a great story. He even made his own mice traps from a 5-gallon bucket, a pop can covered in peanut butter, and a wooden wren. I don't think I saw that. I didn't see that contraption. Fortunately, the problem was already taken care of, and we didn't need the traps, but his excitement for his creation made a yucky problem somewhat tolerable. Roy quickly learned that at the preschool, you never know what could happen, including fishing masks out of a clogged toilet. Roy's positive and can-do attitude will be missed, but UNL is getting a good one. Roy will be leaving us. One of the other many traits that Roy is blessed with is he is a certified chef. So he has been involved in the food making process throughout the course of his lifetime and career. At Chadron State College, he was a director of the kitchen there, at Kearney as well, UNK, Wayne State. He's owned a food truck, he's owned a food business, and so one of the unique characteristics about Roy is he truly is a jack of all trades. I've known Roy for many years, probably about 15 years, and feel very fortunate to not only call him someone who I've had the pleasure to work with, who always keeps a smile on his face no matter how dire the situation, but also someone who I can call a friend, because he could come in and sit down and talk, and we could talk about anything. So we wish him well in his new venture at the UNL training table, cooking for our Husker athletes, and know that he'll do a terrific job representing that, and just want to say thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Mike.
And I'll get to feed Tucker too. Always dress up. Thank you very much.
So, in that position, then we are, I'm supposed to get closer to the microphone. We are left with an opening, and we'd like to just take this opportunity to announce and kind of introduce Roy's replacement. So Ronnie, as Roy leaves, we get the opportunity to welcome a new staff member who just recently joined our team about a month ago and comes with also a varied and myriad background of diverse experience and expertise that we feel like fits the position very well. So Rhonda Piper is going to be our new maintenance, buildings and grounds supervisor, custodial supervisor. That whole title and position, she takes that over. She comes to us from a background in distributing, manufacturing, inventory, managing about 350 employees for several Fortune 500 companies in Arizona. So we really feel like we have struck a diamond in the rough here, and we're anxious to have her. Not only that, but she also runs her own handy lady service on Sunday. So she can do it all from cut a countertop to replace a toilet to fix about anything that needs fixed. So we really do feel fortunate. So Board of Education, this is Rhonda. She will be joining us, and we welcome Rhonda.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Jason. Next up, student recognition. Mr. Brown, we will start with state wrestling.
Deegan is not here, he's doing pictures for baseball tonight.
Okay.
So Deegan's not here, so. Coach Dean, Emily Dean. I don't, just kind of give you a quick little background story. Last year was my first year here, and after about 3 weeks on the job, before school started, I get an email message that my cheer and dance coaches are resigning. And I didn't know a soul, and thank goodness that Coach Dean stepped up, and JC and Mallory stepped up, and I'll tell you what, you talk about hitting a home run. We did an outstanding job. I was just with Lincoln East's athletic director this weekend, a good friend of mine, and I said, thank goodness she didn't like Lincoln East. We did really well there, so, and we found out we take a lot better care of her here. So, first group we'd like to recognize is our state championship cheerleading team. So Coach Dean will call them up, and if you girls want to come up and get a certificate from Mr. Trusty here. But the girls, they do a great job. I will tell you one thing right now, you'd be amazed at how hard these kids work. We actually have purchased some half of a cheer mat, so they got 3 sections of cheer mats, and that's something new for them. And the girls after school will them out in the commons, they pick up tables, they get the mats all set up. Would invite you to come up do some of the workouts with her, because she not only teaches them cheer, but she also does a lot of conditioning with them. And so these mats have helped her do a lot more stunts. I know she's talking about the girls want to do more stunts next year, so I don't know if you know they're gonna be in the weight room this summer or not, so I'm gonna require that, but, just so girls, as you come up, get your certificate from Mr. Trustee, and then we'll take a group photo, so. Okay?
All right, Carly Miller. Kayla Tony. Jesse Burton. Cash Gardner. Oh, sorry. Shelby Hessman. Carly Mice. Morgan Solopchuk. McKenna Freeland. Aubrey Simmons.
Morgan's not
No, Aubrey Simmons. Sorry. Do you want me to say not present?
here.
All right. Aubrey's not present either. Aubrey Simmons. Michaela Hausman, she's not present either. All right, Hannah Jobman. Ainsley Carlin, she's not here. McKenna Bloom. Macy Grunwald. Ava Oliver, not here. Alexa Marquez. Bryn Puget is not here. Emily Allen. Morgan Ward is not present. Anna Hamilton. And then Ariana Marlet is not here either.
Do you want to take a photo? Do you want to be in a photo? Can you push me?
Do we need?
You'll see that some of these girls or dual participants, they're also part of the dance team. JC and Mallory cannot be here tonight because they're doing a little kids elementary music program. So they're herding cats there tonight, so it's our parking lot for schools. But Coach Dean will introduce those young ladies here, so.
All right. Kayla Tony. See that look. Chesney Porter.
Thank you.
All right, Carly Miller. Paige Southwick. Elena Apple, not here. Maya Hood, not here. Not here. Abby Parrott. Monet Bear. Tiana Farley Martin. Taylin Bent. Abby Hoffman. Oh, yep, I missed her. Lucy Beekman. Sorry, Lucy. Anna Hamilton. And Caitlin Baker.
Unless you want to stay.
They were not eating.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, congratulations.
Taylor, we're gonna go grab Dairy Queen.
Rubbing it.
I just want to be there.
All right, congratulations, ladies. Next, we'll move to the information portion. Start with the student update with Riley.
On March 7th, the preschool staff had their in-service with Carrie Eber and talked about the importance of language and play. And students continue to work on their social skills. Paddock Lane K through 3rd graders just wrapped up a wonderful music program. The students celebrated St. Patrick's Day a little early with their monthly house contest, where the Bears, along with Mrs. McConnell, won the 800 points. 2nd graders will start swimming lessons on the 31st, and Mariah Bolts will be a guest author visiting Paddock Lane on April 18th. At Lincoln and Stoddard, music contests are being held both tonight and tomorrow, and Artist of Residence was last week and went amazingly well, and the elementaries have an author visit coming up along with lots of field trips. At the middle school, students and staff continue to work hard in the classroom. The new ICU program has helped record the lowest failure rate in many years. And track will start next week for the middle schoolers, and a total of 110 students plan on participating. Saturday, the Special Olympics team had a great basketball game at the high school. Spring sports are in full steam ahead. They had team pictures tonight with Calum Sports Photography, and spring sports kickoff is happening tomorrow night in the Ozone. The speech team is conference runner-ups, and the quiz bowl team is back-to-back conference champions. Tomorrow, the National Honor Society chapter is holding lunch to celebrate the new member inductees. And lastly, the juniors take the ACT at the high school next Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Riley. Moving to board reports, stance report, Mr. Alexander.
So just briefly, much emphasis in the past week in regards to stance. The stance organization was focused on opposition to LB 753, which is the Tax Opportunity Scholarship Act. Unfortunately, that bill did not reach cloture, so it does continue. It's on general select file now, which means it will go to floor for further debate and only need 22 votes to actually be signed into law. It is our understanding that there are amendments that are being proposed to this bill, which is good news. What those amendments will amount to when it actually gets to floor for further debate is up in the air at this time, but disappointing that that bill has made it as far as it has. I'll spare you all the details in it, but next week, this week, we will see bills coming out. This is the last week of hearings in the legislature, so we'll see bills come out of hearings if there are. The LB 385 is one we're keeping an eye on, and we see that as the bill that will be will include many other bills will get attached to it, which we call the Christmas tree bill. And when that happens, then there's an attempt to push a lot of things through unnoticed, so we're really keeping our eye on that bill because it seems to be the one where there will be a lot of other bills attached to it, including online alt certification, which is LB 603, LB 372, part-time enrollment, Ballard's LB 550, talking about option enrollment. There's another bill that talks about option enrollment, but I will save that for my superintendent's report. So basically, up until this point, it's been, Stance has been heavily involved in communication with state senators on either A, defeating bad legislation, B, trying to add improvements into legislation that will work, or C, helping pass good legislation in terms of education in the state.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Any questions for Jason? Okay, next up is negotiations. Janet.
Okay, the negotiations committee, along with Doris Martin and myself, met with representatives from BEA 10 times. We reached an agreement on March 12th, and BEA membership approved the agreement on March 13th. An increase of $750 on the base was approved, with the health insurance deductible being raised from $1,050 to $1,200. The base salary for a beginning teacher will increase from $36,725 to $37,475. This is the largest base increase since the 2008-09 school year. Depending on the insurance package they receive, their total salary and benefit package will range from approximately $53,500 to $70,800. This does not include any extra duty pay they may receive. The total package increase is 3.74%. The cost to the district is $500,761.80. The contract for a full-time teacher remains at 186 days. One of the goals of the Board of Education was to work toward achieving goal number 3 of the strategic plan, which is hiring and retaining high-quality staff. We feel we have been able to take a step forward in achieving this goal. The Board of Education will continue to work to achieve a competitive salary so we can recruit, hire, and retain high-quality staff.
All right, thank you, Janet. Any questions for Janet? Okay. Next up is public forum citizens request for comments. I did not receive any requests, so we will move on to the discussion portion. First is second reading of policy 5205, graduation, and regulation 5205, graduation requirements. Mr. Alexander.
So as discussed previously in Cal meetings and the previous board meeting, the changes to the graduation requirements are in and ready to roll. We've kind of been holding off on this until we do see where LB 520, Senator Walls' bill on delaying the computer science requirement would fall. At this point, it's kind of a question mark. LB 520 remains in committee. It has not made it out. So as it looks right now, if the session continues, there's roughly about 40 days left in the session. As it continues to progress, we'll be watching for that to come to the floor. But again, the session has really has come to a slow grind because of the different debate that's taking place in the filibusters that are on the floor. So at this point, we don't know if 520 will come out and delay that, so we will trudge forward in our planning to have that ready to go as state statute would require for the start of next year. All the other graduation requirements we've talked about, so they're in that policy as presented.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Second reading of policy 5602, Naxalone.
So this is the policy that allows for storage, administration, and use of Naxalone or Narcan as a nasal spray and a prescription medicine in treatment for what would be a known or a suspected opioid overdose emergency with signs of breathing problems and severe sleepiness or not being able to respond. So again, this is the Naxalone drug that would prevent an overdose if that situation happened at one of our schools. And we have training, different staff, nurses that are aware of where that's stored, and administration, so in the event of that type of emergency, we're ready for it.
Okay. Next, second reading of policy 6212, assessments, academic content standards.
Really all this amounted to was adjusting the dates to be in alignment with the state and utilize the adopted state standards in the core areas of English language arts, math, science, and social studies. So we're just changing the dates to align with every 7-year update according to the state.
Okay. Next, second reading of policy 6921, seizure safe schools.
So in accordance with state statute 79-3201 to 3207, and as a result of LB 639, we are responsible for creating a policy to comply with the Seizure Safe School Act, which basically comes down to the fact that in any school where there's an identified student that's susceptible to seizures, we have a training policy in place and also an awareness policy in place, and we work closely with parents to make sure that everything is ready in the event that a seizure would happen and everybody knows how to handle that situation.
Okay. Next is second reading of policy 8345, procedures during meetings.
So as we have been communicating and updating policies, we've been in communication with our legal counsel that basically just wanted to make sure that we had somewhere in policy clearly written that communication during a meeting, whether it be through text messaging, email, or social media, could be subject to the Open Meetings Act. And so it's recommended by legal counsel to make sure that we have a policy that stipulates clearly that type of policy is not accepted during board meetings.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Any questions on any of the second readings? Okay, next up, action portion. The first item, discuss, consider, and take all necessary action with regard to possible approval and authorization to execute a right-of-way dedication and permanent utility easement with the city of Beatrice on the school district's property. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 hereby ratifies, approves, and authorizes execution of the dedication for right-of-way and the permanent utility easement, both with the city of Beatrice, Nebraska, for additional street right-of-way and utility easements on the school district's property adjacent to North 33rd Street, and that the Board of Education approves and adopts this resolution. Be it resolved by Gage County School District number 34-0015, also known as Beatrice Public Schools, a Class 3 school district under the laws and statutes of the state of Nebraska, at this regular meeting of its Board of Education, that the dedication for right-of-way and the general utility easement with the city of Beatrice, Nebraska relating to additional public right-of-way and possible utility installments on school district property adjacent to North 33rd Street, such dedication documents in the form on file with official school district records and as presented at this meeting, or with such changes as are deemed necessary and in the best interest of the school district, and approved by the board president or superintendent of schools, should be and are hereby authorized and approved. Be it further resolved that the president of the Board of Education or a designee for the school district should be and is hereby delegated the authority and is authorized and directed to sign, execute, and deliver such dedication documents and any development plans, subdivision agreements, interlocal agreements, or other documents related thereto for and on behalf of the school district, and is delegated the authority and is authorized and directed to retain any necessary professionals for assistance and to take or cause to be taken all other action necessary or appropriate to complete the transaction.
Thank you, Doris. Do we have a second on the motion and resolution?
Second.
Second by Eric Book, thank you. Any further discussion, Jason?
You did a nice job of reading all of that, Doris. That's a lot of legal jargon to read, so nice.
I have no idea what I read, but maybe in the discussion we will figure that out.
So basically, as we continue to move forward in the construction of the new PK5 elementary school, in order to address whatever work may need to be done on the streets and also to address the utility easement for the right to access, across, construct, reconstruct, perpetually maintain or operate electrical power, water lines, sanitary sewer lines, stormwater pipelines, telephone, fiber, gas, cable TV, all those things that have to be inserted into that site, we have to grant these two easements to the city. And basically, the SNEA, the Southeast Nebraska Education Agency, tomorrow will have a meeting to formalize that, and then the last step will be that Pinnacle Bank will also have to sign as owners of that land as well. So 3 steps in this process to approve these easements that are all part of necessary to continue the construction and keep it going and hopefully meet that deadline of August or the mid-August 2024.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Any discussion? All right, do we need a roll call vote or is?
We can just do it by the board.
All right, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Next up, Administrator's Report. Start with PBIS, Mr. Boyd.
Intro music.
It is.
Hi, I'm not going to do very much talking tonight because I think you'd much rather hear from the individuals who are more involved with what we've been doing and on the PBIS front. I know part of the reason for kind of these reports were to be able to talk to you guys and show you the things that we're doing within the buildings. PBIS is one of our subcommittee teams. I know Mr. Suter had talked to you about our school improvement team, how it's made up of different subcommittees. This is one of them. It stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. So for those of you not overly familiar with that, kind of an easy way to think of it is it's a school-wide preventative that changes the paradigm of focus from reacting to negative behaviors and more proactively teaching positive expectations and increasing positive interactions between adults and kids. And the idea behind that is that it's going to improve school culture with that positive. It's also going to build social skills, hopefully reduce office discipline, and then increase instructional time. So this team behind me are part of that, and I'm going to let them talk about what their goals are for this year. A couple of things we've done just kind of school-wide as adults within the building. Part of the process is to identify what is handled in the classroom, what is handled in the office. We went through that as a staff and have this beautiful flow chart that the team created. Also, if you've been to the high school, you probably have noticed our, I had a bigger one here somewhere, our shields that we have hanging up. They are common expectations. So part of PBIS is to have the same language being spoken throughout the whole building. So the same rules, same expectations. So this is just an example of classroom. Use the shield the team designed. We've got 4 different learners: integrity, respectful, and responsible are kind of our core words that we utilize. And then each place, so like the restroom would have different things. So being a learner would be returning to class promptly. Leaving cell phones in the classroom, so you're going there doing your business, coming back. What we'll work on as time goes on is the practice and teaching of these expectations. And so that lends itself hopefully to some of the things I alluded to earlier about what PBIS would do. That's the boring part. I'll let these guys talk about the more exciting things that they're doing because it's pretty cool. So I'll stop so they can start. Yeah, speaking to the microphone, please.
Okay, this feels super official. So I'm going to talk about our 2 goals that we set for this school year. The first goal of which we had was to, my name is Corey Wells. I'm a teacher at the high school and one of the chairs for the PBIS team at the high school. One of our goals was to create a reward system to try to encourage students to do the right things. Rather than being retroactive, how can we be proactive and encourage students to make those good decisions? And so with that in mind, we are looking at creating a caught you doing good behavior, you've been caught type of system where if students are caught being a learner, having integrity, being responsible, being respectful, and a teacher sees that, they can fill this out. Here's what they were doing, here's where they were doing it. That student can then turn that into the office and then get some small little prize for that. Then on top of that, we're also looking to add, if you've done this so many times, we are also going to then put your name into a drawing, and then you can get a shirt. And then we're looking at perks of being like, maybe after so many times you get to go to the front of the lunch line, because that's a big deal. Kids love to run down the hall to get to lunch first. And so I think that little things like that, that could hopefully encourage students to do those right things, maybe not running down the hall, because then, hey, I can actually get to go to the front of the line. So that is our first goal. Our ultimate goal is we want to try to roll that out next fall. We did a lot of prep work at first when we first started meeting, And then we kind of put that on the back burner because of the second goal that I'm going to talk to you guys about. And then we're going to really kind of pick things up here in the last couple months and hopefully have that ready to go in the fall. Our second goal that we had was to create a roundtable discussion group, and that's what we're calling it, as a roundtable group, kind of playing on the Sir William of Orange and the Knights, and so calling it the roundtable. And the goal of this was to actually get student involvement, and not just us as teachers and administrators being able to make the decisions, but get our students involved and have our students actually look at data and look at what we do in school and then get the student perspective. And so we're excited that we started asking students around Thanksgiving, November time, we started asking students if they would be interested in serving on this. And what was awesome was we did not have a single student say no. Every student we asked was so excited to be a part of it. We tried to create an incredibly diverse group of students from all different backgrounds. And so it was pretty awesome to get those responses. And so what you're going to see here, I asked a couple students to join me. Not a lot of students could make it because they're really busy, but what I do want to say before I turn it over to them is that on that day our students did awesome. Like, I felt like I had pretty high expectations, really excited about doing this, and then our students just blew my expectations out of the water. They did a fantastic job. Our goal is to give them a topic each day, and our topic of this, our challenge for the first day was how can we improve school spirit, and then we're going to go from here. So like we will meet with them once a quarter is our plan. And it's during the school day, and so like for the fourth quarter, we may have them look at what we're toying with is how can we improve mental health at Beatrice High School, and then down the road, how can we tackle like student discipline, things like that, and then getting the student perspective on how we can maybe create programs to improve behavior and just overall the culture of Beatrice High School.
Hi, my name is Brian Price. I'm a junior and I'm a member of the PBIS program. So one of the things I love about our program is that it's it's diverse. So there's all different kinds of people coming in and chiming in ideas, and it's really nice to collaborate and come up with a general consensus. It goes together actually really well, and there's definitely the possibility of things getting better, which is a big thing. Big motivation, even for students that aren't in the program. I know people I've talked to about it, they're excited about the possibility of different outcomes from this program. It's a great place to meet new people that you wouldn't normally meet, and be able to understand who they are, who they hang out with. It just opens your eyes to the different parts of our school that kind of make that one family that we talk about. That's a pretty big thing for me, and I really like that part. And just coming up with different ideas and stuff. It's fun, and it allows you to really just enhance yourself and the whole group as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Corey Wells again, step in. So you've met Taylor DeConig a few times. We're not going to make her talk because she was just one of the students we asked to speak tonight, and initially we didn't think she would be able to be here because being busy, she was also going to have spring sports photos. So to finalize our little segment here, we actually had some students do some video, and we put this together. So we'll kind of finalize our presentation with a little video that some students put.
About our roundtable meeting group. I felt like I got to interact with other students, and I felt like we had a lot of good ideas that could help out the student body in Beatrice.
I feel that it went well. There was a lot of different interests that were able to provide ideas for a joyful day. I really liked getting to interact with the different students, and we were all from different cliques, so I thought we had a lot of good ideas that came together, and overall it was really nice.
Excited for like making school better, because that's one of the things that I've always thought about as a student. I thought about how can we make school better, things that the students and the teachers, and I just thought this was a great opportunity.
Like ideas all come together, and like I want to see kids actually excited to go to school. I'm excited to have interactions with other students who maybe I wouldn't have interacted with otherwise, to be able to express ideas to better school.
So a few things I'm excited came up with, and I believe it was the seniors that came up with that. But I'm also just excited to interact and hopefully make Beatrice a better place for a lot of people, and just make the student body a better place in general.
One thing that a lot of times our surveys, and going back to data tells us, is that students often feel like they don't have a say in the daily interactions in our building. And the more we think about it as adults, the generation that we're working with right now have never not had choice. They've never not had a say in things, whether it's music. We used to have to flip the radio on and hope a song came on, or have anti-skip on our CD players, whereas they can choose any song, TV, no commercials, any movie they want. It's all choice. And so continuing to adapt the way that we provide instruction and environment and culture for our kids is really important. And this is a really great way for students to have a voice and a say. And from an administrator point of view, we came in at the end of the day and they presented their ideas to us. And they were great. They were really good ideas. And they weren't these obscure, crazy things that there's no way they could happen. They just took what we were already doing and made it better. And I think that was a really kind of awesome aha for us, that this is great. Let's get kids working together and talking and problem solving, because they probably have some of the answers that we don't have. And so I am really excited to see this roundtable and this idea continue to grow, and for students to continue to have a say in what we do in our building. It's a big group. It's good. I think there were 8 kids per grade. Is that about correct? So they all had their little pods and they did their different sessions throughout the day. It was amazing to see. So props to this group, the leaders in particular, and then also the kids who just dove in and went for it. Do you guys have anything else? Do you have any questions for any of us? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Getting off the hook. Thank you.
All right, next up, superintendent report, Mr. Alexander.
Basically, just first of all, Mrs. Dean, Mr. Wells, Talia, Brian, thank you so much for being here tonight, and Mr. Boyd as well, talking to us about PBIS. It's something we're trying to implement across the entire district. Different buildings are in different spots, but we're hopefully gonna all get there at some point. And I just think, what a terrific presentation about things that are going on in our buildings that people really don't know are happening. And so I appreciate you being willing to come tonight and sacrifice a little bit of your evening to update us on what is taking place, and also anybody that might be listening out in the public on what the things that are taking place. And there are great things happening all the way across the district, from preschool to high school. There are terrific leadership opportunities from our students, from our staff, and it's nice to hear and have a presentation of such things that are taking place. So thank you very much for taking time out of your evening and missing out on Dairy Queen to be here.
Why didn't you just bring Dairy Queen?
In regards to a few superintendent updates, so typically February represents the halfway mark of the budget cycle. And I just want to bring to your attention that at this point, at the conclusion of February, we are at that halfway mark. It seems impossible to believe that we're 6 months through the budget cycle and even further through the school year. But according to the 8.33% rule, we would be at 49.98% of our budget expended if we were spending exactly that amount. Currently, we're at 49.18%, so we're about 80 hundredths beneath what we need to spend budget authority-wise, which is good. And that tells us, that's our tracking mechanism that tells us where we're at. In terms of our year-to-date revenue, we're at $13,195,953. And our year-to-date expenses are at $12,562,322. So we're in our financial condition for the budget cycle is just where it should be, which is good news. In regards to some legislation, I did hand out a packet of information for you that we received, I know it says stance/ESU7 meeting, but it was an ESU7/5 meeting as well. They just didn't get the ESU5 on there. So this is just an update for you on the last of several bills that will be discussed in hearings this week and could possibly come out. And there's a couple that I really want to point out to you that are, well, I think one's on here and one's not. And one of them, both of them are in relationship to option enrollment. And currently we are looking at two bills that could possibly change the option enrollment process in which school districts and students, parents are all involved in. So one of them is, gotta get the right one here. It's on the front, LB 414, which relates to the option enrollment program, and that in order to ensure that children with disabilities are not being denied optioning into another school district due to their disability, the bill further directs the capacity for special education services operated by an option school district to be determined on a case-by-case basis by the option school district's director of special education. So currently, we kind of operate like this right now in terms of if we get an option request, we have the ability to look at that on a case-by-case basis and determine, do we have the capacity, do we have the staff, do we have the room, do we have the ability to service the students' needs as they come to us? If not, we have the opportunity to deny that. So and most typically, if we are denying an option enrollment student, we contract in a lot of students that come to us with special needs. But occasionally, when our programming is full, we do have to have the opportunity to deny that, because if we don't, we're gonna have to hire more staff. So LB 414, we will be talking about this in the committee of the whole in either March or April, and also as these two bills unfold, possibly be revisiting these topics. LB 528 creates the Nebraska Option Enrollment Tuition Account Program. So here we are again, creating tuition scholarships for students that when their option enrollment may be denied, they have the ability to apply for an option enrollment tuition account scholarship. The State Board of Education will be in charge of the deposit of funds in this scholarship account, and also determine eligible education expenses in relation to it. So these two bills are really important in terms of student enrollment and option enrollment that's coming forth, but I wanted to bring them to your attention. We will be discussing our option enrollment policy in the coming meetings, so look for that coming.
So Jason, what is the 551? Does it basically say that as long as you live in the state of Nebraska, you can opt to enroll into any school district?
Any school district you want to. Yep. And if you're denied that, then there's different steps you can take. So, and there's also other bills that are out there in regards to activity participation. And currently, the NSAA requires students to be enrolled part-time in classes in order to participate in activities. Under the bill that, and I can't remember the name right off the top of my head, but under the bill that's being presented, that would change to say that any student, they do not have to enroll in classes, would be able to participate in school activities. So that's another bill that we're keeping a close eye on in terms of.
So that'd be like a homeschool student?
Correct. Yeah. So homeschool students would be able to participate with no accreditation requirements in school activities. So that bill's out there, and we're keeping an eye. I think that's in that packet I handed out to you as well. So you'll want to be watching those as currently we approach, we're almost the halfway mark of the session. We'll wrap up hearings at the end of this week, and then it's constant floor debate from there on out. And so as these bills come up on the floor, we will be in communication with Senator Dorn about stance will be on our positions in relationship to these bills as well. So if you have firm feelings about any of these bills, please communicate with me so I can express those, and don't be afraid to express your feelings with Senator Dorn he has his email on his webpage as well. So. Outside of that, I would just say it's hard to believe, but after tomorrow, we have spring break. I know there'll be a lot of students that probably walk out of buildings with tears in their eyes that they'll have 3 days off, but we'll wish them well and safety over their spring break and hope that they all enjoy 3 days, as well as our staff. I know for our teaching staff and our administrative staff, it's a break well deserved, and so we wish everyone restful and peaceful spring break after tomorrow. We'll be off for 3 days and then come back Monday and start up with the last of the 46 days of the school year, which I'm sure will fly by with activity and all the things that take place. So it's hard to believe that's where we're at, but graduation preparations will start soon, if not already, right, Riley? And we'll be heading down the stretch. So thank you very much for your attention tonight, and that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Jason? All right. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be April 17th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Administration Building. The Committee of the Whole meeting will be March 23rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Administration Building. An agenda for the meeting, which shall be kept continually current, is readily available for public inspection at the Superintendent's office during normal business hours. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Your votes, please. And we are adjourned.